Hello everyone. Thank you for attending this talk on Innovation by Design, a new postgraduate program at SUTD. My name is Arlindo Silva and I am the program director for this master's program. This is my agenda for today. I'll start with a brief introduction and how companies can benefit from design. Then I will present the program itself and talk about what are our next steps for the future. I'll start with a very brief introduction and motivation for this program. Our motivation for the program is very simple. There have been a lot of design thinking workshops that are typically done in short courses or executive education initiatives. And in fact, in the SUTD MIT International Design Center, we've reached more than 17,000 participants for these short courses. But there is still no full program on design innovation that leads to a degree. And a lot of the companies that come to us usually ask this question, how can we benefit from design? So we started doing some research on that. And in fact, there are studies out there that say that design adoption has a strong correlation with revenues for the companies adopting design. So the next question then becomes, okay, so do these studies translate to Singapore? And the answer to that question is also yes, those studies translate to Singapore and the same trend can be seen in Singapore. In fact, in Singapore, almost 20% of the workforce is involved in design-related work for fabricated metal parts, machinery and equipment, electronics, architecture, finance, retail, and so on and so forth. So this led us to believe that there's space for a Masters of Engineering in Innovation by Design. For us, innovation is something that is at an intersection of desirability, viability, and feasibility. Desirability from a user perspective, viability from a business perspective, and feasibility from a technology perspective. And if we are on that intersection, we assume that we are in front of an innovation. The program relies on a number of components. One of them is deep research embedded in research centers, a unique design pedagogy that comes from the undergrad program as well. We have 3 accelerators and experiences that occur during the year, and we also have some leadership development. Students coming to the program are asked what their interests in research are, and we do the matchmaking between the students and the respective advisors, which means that they will start immediately working on research projects in some of our research centers. The curricular structure of the program is simple and flexible. On the first term, we have Innovation by Design. Second term, we have Design Science, and these two are compulsory courses. They are complemented by electives in term 1, term 2, and term 3. And there is a project that spans an entire year, that's Ideate, Prototype, Realize, where the students can develop an entrepreneurship project, or they can do something that is related to their research thesis. The experiences, meaning the Entrepreneurship Accelerator, the Design Accelerator, and the Overseas Experience, happens throughout the year, typically in between terms. And this is then complemented by their thesis. This group photo shows the intake of 2019 in September, so pre-COVID, no masks in people's faces. And you see that the age of the participants ranges from fresh graduates to people with up to 20 years of experience in industry, which plays an important role in innovation and team diversity. This slide shows you some numbers for our first 2 intakes in 2019 and 2020. In total, we had 55 students coming into this program. 44 of them are full-time students and 11 are part-time students. We do cater for part-time students with evening classes. 42 scholarships were given to these students, and they, as I said previously, they range from fresh graduates to 20 years of industry experience. We have students coming from 7 countries up to this point. I can tell you that for the intake in 2021, we will have added countries coming into this master's program. The backgrounds of our students are mostly very diverse, but still engineering based, from robotics, from IoT, from chemistry, from materials, from mechanics, electronics, education, but also from economics and finance as well. We feel that the diversity in background and culture enriches drastically the learning in design, and it helps our students embark on empathy with their users and with their partners and with their team members as well. Empathy is one of the key features of design, as we all know. This being a design program, it heavily relies on projects and on teamwork. Each student will develop, therefore, at least 7 projects during their course of study. 5 of them will involve some form of prototyping. 5 of them are also team projects. They are all full or partially funded with a specific budget assigned by the program office. The shortest of these projects will be roughly 2 hours long, and the longest will be 1 year long. That's the Ideate, Prototype, Realize project that spans a full year. This is an example of the overseas experience done in 2019 with the School of Design of Jiangnan University. This was a 1-week design sprint where 50 students in mixed teams of SUTD and Jiangnan University students worked together to produce 10 prototypes on a specific how might we statement that you can see on the bottom right of your screen. During that week, we also visited 2 companies, and we understood from those companies how they go about doing design and how they go about producing what they design. Another example of one of our overseas experiences can be seen here. It was actually not overseas, it was with the Singapore Management University, and we paired up with their executive MBA to solve a problem you can see on the top right of your screen right now. Mixed teams of students between SUTD and SMU worked on this problem statement for 3 days, and they came up with some very, very interesting results and prototypes. You will see in this slide some of the examples of that year-long Ideate, Prototype, Realize project that I've talked to you about. And you will see projects on, for instance, supply chain, robotics, 3 and 4D printing, healthcare related projects, aviation, biomimicry, and biocomposites. And this is made possible by the vast knowledge base that can be found across our faculty and our research centers, and our ability to work within and outside the boundaries of our departments and research centers, making multidisciplinarity one of our most distinguishing features. This being a very new program, it still has some room for improvement, and what you can see here is the results of the survey questions that we pose to the students at the end of term. For the specific case of Innovation by Design, that's the first term course that students need to compulsory take. You can see that we have been striving for improving that course, and we will continue doing so in the future. So basically, what is next for us? Up to this point, we have been working on problem statements that are basically provided by the faculty. But from this point onwards, companies will be able to fund projects that students can work on. In fact, for this September, we have 7 company projects lined up for the students to work on that are fully funded by the companies. We are also looking at exchange programs with other universities and looking for other overseas partners as well to work with us on this journey. There will be more diversity in scholarships as well, and we are looking into company-sponsored scholarships together with our national EDB IPP scheme of companies bringing their employees to take master's and PhD students at universities in Singapore. You may recall that in one of my initial slides for this presentation, I talked about short courses and executive education at SUTD. on design thinking and design innovation, we are now planning ways in which we can stack up all of these courses and plan for micromasters and modular masters to be possible within the master's program in innovation by design. And this concludes my presentation for today. So I would thank you for your attention, and I will be happy to answer any questions.